Hey, it's the Midnight Raven, and today we're doing another revengeful ghost and curses tale, and this is called The Fiend in Bandages. Welcome to my channel. I am the Midnight Raven. I am dressed to go to a funeral, as this is a ghost story with a bit of a tragic ending. So, let's get into this story. So, four men had escaped a square-rigged British yacht that had capsized in the Atlantic in July 1884. The four men survived in a small dinghy drifting for around 25 days. They were starving and badly dehydrated. Captain Rutt made a last desperate suggestion for survival that would later cause concern for the public. So lots would be drawn, and one of the men would be eaten by the other men to make sure that the other men would survive. So out on the high seas, obviously they didn't have much option for food and drink. The men had already been at sea for 25 days, and at this point things had got to a point where this was a life and death situation. The captain decided to draw lots, and unfortunately one of the youngest crew members refused to partake, which meant that he would seal his fate as the next meal. So the youngest man, unfortunately, would seal his fate. While the young crew member was asleep, the captain would stab him to death, and then they would feast for days on his remains. The other two crewmen had no reservations about cannibalizing their dead crewmate. They saw this as a survival tactic and that they had no other choice but to partake if they wanted to survive. So, 4 days later, after eating their young crew friend, the captain and the two surviving crewmen would be saved. The captain of the Galliot yacht had found them, and when they discovered that their young crewmate had been cannibalized, the captain of the yacht decided that he would reject the burial at sea and would take whatever remains they had back to land. All three of the sailors, captain included, were arrested and tried for murder on the high seas of their young fellow crewmen who they had cannibalized to survive. Now, the Home Secretary gave the man a 6-month jail sentence, but when the three men were released from jail, they would have no future either. Josh worked as a drayman, and weeks later, his team of horses were frightened in the middle of a foggy London street. He was tossed off the back of the horse. He cracked his head and would die. Witnesses claim to have seen a shadowy figure in blood-stained bandages that spooked the horse and had vanished once John lay on the floor with a cracked head and died from the bleeding. So Captain Rutt was concerned and went to find the other sailor that had also survived. Now, he had become an alcoholic and lived in the Soho slums. The captain would tell him of a crazy relative that was masquerading around as Dick Tomlin's ghost. This unfortunate sailor was in poor health, and after being taken to hospital, he would die. Now, witnesses claim to have seen another patient in the same room, dressed in blood-stained bandages, holding down Will, the sailor, as he died, and once he had died, the figure disappeared. Now, Captain Rat at this point was scared central. He had heard not one but two of his crewmates had now died. So he went to the police to tell them of this supposed shadowy figure that was killing his other sailors that had survived and that he was the next target. So the police thought that his mental condition had made him tell these weird, non-proved stories. No one could prove the shadowy figure. No one could prove what spooked the horse. So the police gave him a night in the cell to calm down because they thought he was a little bit crazy and, could pose a threat to him or the public. So at around 3 a.m., while sitting in this police cell, the police heard screams and wailing coming from his cell. Police would rush to the cell and would find Captain Rutt in a fetal position with cold, dead eyes. They looked at the captain, and his hand was covered in shreds of cotton and blood-stained bandages. And that was the end of the crew of the yacht. So, let me know what you thought of this story. Did Captain Rat and his two crewmen deserve to die and be spooked and haunted because they tried to survive by cannibalizing their young crewmate? Should they have all died and not cannibalized their crewmate? Should the cannibalized crewmate haunt them for only making a decision that they didn't necessarily want to make but were left with no choice? Let me know of this case and what you thought in the comments below. I am the Midnight Raven. I hope you enjoyed this case. I know it's a short one, but I do enjoy doing these. Hopefully you will like and subscribe and follow more of my ghost stories, and I will see you very soon. Take care and thanks for watching. Bye guys.